Hello and welcome. I am now going to show you how to turn a poster into a banner for Voice America. So I'm going to start by sharing my screen. And here we go. I'm now going to go to Photoshop, and you should be able to see my screen. And here we've got the Photoshop of the banner. And you can see that the banner is not very big. We can look at the image under image size in the banner and see that it's just 90 pixels high and 728 pixels wide. And then we can go up here to our other poster that we're going to actually turn into a banner, and we can check the image size on that and see that the image size is actually 3,300 pixels wide by 2,200 pixels tall. So, so whatever we bring over from this poster is going to have to get shrunk down for the banner. Now, remember, the banner is going to be on Voice America, and it's going to be up for a few seconds, 30 seconds to a minute at a time, and it's going to rotate with other banners. So the only thing we can do on a banner that small, and it's going to be up for that tiny amount of time, is to create something that just has a single word or a single phrase that indicates what it is, and a single image that carries some emotional content, and do our best to communicate that, and also give a call to action in that tiny amount of space. It's actually quite a task to do that. But the first thing we're going to do is actually go back over to the banners area, and this is a banners file that has lots of different groups in it. And right now we're looking at the Fantastical Facilitation group. If I turn that one off, none of the rest of the groups are on, and so you end up with a white background. So I'm going to turn this one on just to have a group to copy, because you want to keep the new posters in the groups, because each group represents a different banner. So we're just going to, if you right-click, not on the folder itself, but outside the folder here in the area next to the folder, I'm now going to do that. Then this menu comes up, and you can duplicate the group. And the default is to duplicate the group in the same folder here. So I'm going to say OK, and now I've got a file that a group that's called Clearing Loops 2 copy. So I'm now going to turn the old Clearing Loops 2 off, turn this one on, and I'm going to just select one of the layers inside this group, because this is whatever I paste into here will be pasted just above this layer and still inside of the folder. So now I go back to the bars classes, and what I want to do now is to use the Control key and right-click. For the PC, you would actually hold your Command and Control keys both down at the same time if you're on a Mac. And let's actually look and see where, if we can find out where this image is. Looks like it might be this one. If I turn on and off, yes, the image is going on and off. So now I want to make sure that this layer is selected in the layers menu, and you click outside of the actual object itself while holding right-click while holding down the Control key, or if you're on a Mac, hold down the Control key, and now we're going to duplicate this layer, but we're not going to duplicate it inside the same file. We're going to actually choose the other file, which is the banners file, to copy it into. And if we want to be real smart, we can call this layer Lisa Mooney getting bars. And we say okay. Well, nothing seems to happen, but then when we go back to our banners poster, we can see that there's something that's changed there. Now here's the thing. You can, under view, you can choose to zoom out like this, or you can hold your space bar, your control key, and your alt key down at the same time, and you get the minus magnifying glass. If you just hold your control key or command on the Mac and the space bar down at the same time, you get your plus. So adding that alt key gives you the minus, and you can go back and forth like this. So we don't know where this image is exactly, but what we do know is that we need to make it smaller. So let's actually go to our edit menu and choose transform. And you want to choose free transform, not just plain transform, because that will give you the whole thing. Now look how big this file is. We're going to zoom way out and see how gigantically huge that is. So I've just zoomed way out, and I'm going to grab the lower right-hand corner of it, and then I'm going to make it smaller as I hold down the Shift key. Because look at what I can do. I can make it really non-proportional stretching, and we don't want to do that. What you want to do is hold down the Shift key, and that constrains it to the same proportions as you're making it smaller. So the first thing I want to do is just make it small enough so that we can zoom back in and see what's happening. So I might want to rotate my file. You just grab it in the corners like that, and you get these two little right angle facing arrows, and that lets you rotate back and forth. Still not small enough, so I'm going to click here, hold down the Shift key, and I'm kind of finally getting enough of it in there so that we can tell that it's a person getting bars. Okay, so I'm actually going to, because I know I've got some messaging to put in here as well, I'm going to make the file kind of small. And I'm just going to now click the return key to seal in that change. Okay, so we've got a little bit happening here, but we need to get the text that is associated with this bars class. So now I'm going to go back and look. Looks like the word ecstasy and access consciousness bars are the two important things in this poster. And rather than copy this file and make it, sorry, you didn't see that. Rather than copy this file and make it difficult to shrink and grow, I'm just going to say access consciousness bars and ecstasy and see what we can do here. So now I'm going to go to this same file, and these items, now I can select the layers that I want by holding down the control key and right-clicking on the PC, and by holding down the command key and the control key on the Mac. And now I'm going to choose this rounded corner rectangle, which I don't think we're going to use, and hide it. And I'm going to turn off the I choose the clearing loops, because that was the text that was on top of that button. Here's one. So here's this text is right here. So I'm actually going to potentially use that. So I make this smaller, and now I select the text in it, and I say, okay, it's telling me that the layout will change on this, and I kind of know that, so I'm going to say yes. And I'm just going to erase all of it and start over. And we're not going to put any text over that picture. We still have to worry about the edge of that picture, but let's just type in access consciousness bars. and then we have the R circle, and then we have ecstasy. And then we're gonna say click to find out more. Okay, and we don't necessarily have to have click to find out more be a button. We can actually make it look like a link. So immediately it looks like the click to find out more is too big and these are too small. So since ecstasy is important here, let's actually make it a little bit bigger. Make it 36 points. Now it starts to jump over that other line, but that's okay, because we'll go to the character menu, and here's the point size, and here's the leading or vertical space, and it's set to 21. So I'm going to now set this to 24, still not enough. Set it to 30, which is the type, the text, and you'll notice that when I set this at 30 points, it's actually starting to come together a little bit, but I still feel like I don't have enough. Well, let's see. Let's take a look. Now, I'm going to zoom back out. And you want to use the white and green type whenever possible, either white type on a green background or green type on a white background. So this actually is pretty clear right now. It's ecstasy, access consciousness bars ecstasy. Click to find out more. And what I'm going to do is say click to find out more, and I'm going to go to my character palette again, and this little T with the underline is the underline button, or the underline button. So it's now underlined the type. Now the only thing is that there's this rough line between the picture and our white area here. So here's something really tricky that you can do. So this is the layer of Lisa Cooney getting bars, and I can turn it off and on. I'll see that right there. So what we want to do is mask this. We don't want to damage the image, but we want to mask it. So you make sure that that layer is selected, and then you move down here to the very bottom of the layers menu, where there is this icon which indicates create mask. So if you click that, then still nothing happens because you don't have any anything drawn in the mask layer. So what we're going to do is make sure that the mask layer is selected, and you can tell that by it's the one that has the dotted white line around it. So now the layer itself is selected, and now the layer mask is selected. And layer masks are only black and white. So I'm going to choose my gradient tool, which in my case is kind of hidden behind the paint bucket. So I can right click once more to choose the gradient tool rather than the paint bucket. And you'll see that my foreground color here near the bottom of this menu toolbar, the foreground color is white, the background color is black. And when I'm masking, I'm hiding the stuff that is black. So I'm going to then take this and do that, right? And you'll see if you look carefully over here at the mask in the mask layer, it's black on the right-hand side of this document, white on the left-hand side. The white lets the image through, the dark covers it up. And I just want to adjust these letters a little bit. Again, I'm right-clicking in order to select them, and I want to just kind of balance the look a little bit. And now I'm going to press S for save, Control or Command S for save. And now what I'm going to do, since it's actually pretty close to finished, is I'm going to save for web. Right? You've saved your master Photoshop file, but you now need to save for web. And if you just have the settings reasonably high, like quality 60 is just fine for these kinds of things, and click the Save button, and then we're going to choose Dr. Lisa Cooney's site or folder to save these in. And we're not going to call it this, we're going to call this Access Bars Banner. And save it. And that's your tutorial on changing a poster image into a banner image. Hope you enjoyed it.